of a wife and building the culture, how a wife builds the culture in her home. Can you talk a little bit about that? How, what does that mean, and how is that something that you do daily inside of your marriage?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I think that woman, wife, is the most, has the ability to be the most influential person in her husband's life. And so I'm always telling women that we need to be very mindful of how we talk and how we speak to or uplift or belittle the man in our life, because you have the power to be the most influential. I believe that that is a divine gift that God has given women and wife, to speak in that man and create something much bigger. And obviously, when you guys come together, that's not saying you're losing your vision, but creating something much greater than you. And so, in terms of in your home, I feel like you set kind of the atmosphere of what is this home? Is this going to be a peaceful environment? You know, they always say if mama ain't happy, then ain't nobody happy. Well, let's actually strive to find peace, which means also being mindful of the needs of every. I mean, I know a lot of women feel like they take care of everybody as well, but there are some women who are unhappy within themselves. And so, ain't nothing nobody can do right in the house. They're leaning on their husband to make them happy, as opposed to finding happiness and joy in God. And so, when I talk about having authority over your household, I'm also speaking spiritually, keeping your family covered, it's setting the tone in your house. And that's not just aesthetics. I know a lot of people like to think, oh, she's decorating and all of that, which I do believe somewhat matters. It's creating a comfort level in your home, but it's, I believe, much deeper in terms of having a spiritual impact on your home, and how I personally do that. I First of all, I don't talk down to my husband. Even when I'm frustrated with him, and I'll say what I gotta say. I don't. I respect him, and he knows that I respect him, and that has tremendously shaped how we're able to interact. I pray through my home often. I pray over my children. I invite, when I feel like something ain't right, I'm like, you know what? The energy off up in here. Let me anoint these walls, because whatever's in here got to go. But I do believe that I have a divine influence over my children, over my husband, and I don't take it lightly. There is a book called The Power of a Praying Wife, and I often look at those prayers and pull those out when I'm frustrated, when I'm happy, when I just want to review something, because I believe that together, God and I have, when I unite with God in terms of being a wife, being a mother, there's nothing that He and I can't do together.
Yeah, I mean, girl, you just everything. Well, okay, random story. So you might not remember this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I remember when I was like, I had to be 16 or 17, and you drove us from Ohio to Atlanta. And I don't know if you remember this. It was me and your sisters in the car, some other people, whatever. Like, and I feel like you had like a gray car. I could be lying. I don't know. It was a car that was going to get us from point A into point B. And I remember when you were like, okay, I think you were either you wanted to drive or like you were assigned the leadership role, because I know that you are like the oldest of everybody. So
Uh-huh.
like you kind of just stepped in, and I've always admired from a distance like your leadership and just ability to just drive things. And I remember when we were driving down to Atlanta, you were playing Beyonce's "Dangerously in Love,"
Oh God.
and it was like, hey, I know, see, and it was like you was playing this song, "Signs," like I was in love with the Sagittarius, like, and he was going in. I remember that, like driving, and I remember like you was just driving, and you were like so focused on the road, and like I was like, how is she gonna do this trip? How far is it from Ohio to Atlanta?
Like 8, 7. I'm sorry, maybe like 7 hours.
And I just you know how I am with road
The
trips.
road trip.
Already this hour and a half is all I got in me. So you to do this 8 hour, I'm like, she is really a trooper. And so this strength and this leadership that you've always had is something that people see now, and even back then, like it was what you were doing already in your family. You were already influencing, you were already creating a culture, you were already getting the family from point A to point B. And so
Mhm.
now you actually have a program, and I believe you're still doing programs around marriages, and you're leading other people, not just your family, but you're leading people that didn't before know you, but people who desire to have happy and healthy marriages, especially Black couples. So, can you talk a little bit about what your program is, and how people can kind of get involved and with that, and how they can find you?
Yes, yes. Oh, so first of all, that story just cracks me up. I love that you remember that because I have no idea what trip you're even talking
I know, girl, listen. I know. I know sometimes we
about.
don't get sometimes so
You
it's
don't
been
even
it's a long
think.
time. I was like 16, 17, girl.
But yeah, so my course is called Reset Your Connection. It is a communication course. And I have some couples and some individual husbands and wives by themselves have taken the course. And I basically teach couples what are the research based communication skills that you need to build to have a healthy marriage. I have found that so many people struggle in their communication, which is the root of having a healthy marriage, and everything that they are experiencing that's negatively impacting them can 9 times out of the 10 be resolved by just having a healthy conversation. And so many of us lack those skills. We never learned them, or due to childhood or the things that we saw growing up, we come in with either misconceptions or bad behaviors, or just things that are not serving us well in our marriage. And we have to figure out how to get rid of those, and what do I do in place of that former behavior that I used to get involved in. And so I love to teach people about how to divorce proof their marriage. There are research-based strategies that talk about what you were doing before and what you need to transition to start doing. We walk through so many different activities and real world practical things that they can apply in their marriage, so that they and their spouse can start to get on the same page in terms of running their family, having a healthy and happy marriage. And that can be found on my website, mrsmommyesquire.com. And I think I have a link in my bio on Instagram, Mrs. Mommy Esquire. But I'm gearing up to have my next cohort launch in April.
Yay! I'm looking forward to that. Well,
Thank you.
I mean, I'll be recommending people.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to people who are deciding to step into the next level. And so I'm looking forward, I'll be recommending that to other people. And once I'm happily married as well, I'll be joining that
Yes.
program too. So I really want to thank you for your time here on the Mastery of Transition podcast. Just for those